I'm Christopher Titus, and this is the Armageddon Update. And I just got to ask you, God, remember the first time that you wanted to molest a child? Do you? Of course not. The hell is wrong with people like Jeffrey Epstein? Dude, you were sex trafficking little kids? And his buddy, the president, who said about Epstein a while back, he said, Jerry's a great guy, and he likes his girls a little on the young side. Ah. Yeah, but not so young they're playing with fucking Barbies. There's a great saying that I just made up. You can always tell a man by who he hangs out with. And if he hangs out with teenagers at a sleepover, you gotta call the cops. It's not a great saying, it's just the truth. Now, I'm not going to do a whole Armageddon update about pedophiles, because that would be like doing a cooking show with just feces and capers. No point, really. But we do the Armageddon update to stir up discussion, to hear both sides of an issue. But with pedophilia, there's only one side. And if you have an excuse that you think justifies you screwing kids, then you need to go to the hardware store, buy a wood chipper, set it to mulch, and climb in. So instead, let's talk about the weird connections that all this comes with. Okay, follow me. So William Barr, Trump's attorney general. Well, Barr's father, Donald Barr, once hired Jerry Epstein to teach teens at the prestigious Dalton School, which to Jeffrey Epstein would be a pedophile buffet. Now, Donald Barr was the headmaster of the school from 64 to 74. Epstein was a college dropout, yet he was teaching calculus and physics at the elite Manhattan school from 73 to 75. Again, no college degree, teaching physics. Now, on top of that, Alex Acosta, Trump's labor secretary, was in charge of Epstein's case in Florida, where he was busted for sex trafficking over 36 teenage girls. He's a pretty bad dude. Now, he's raping little girls. Now, again, I'm not for the death penalty, but the wood chipper penalty, I'm all for. I'd love to have a bunch of pedophiles on Wood Chipper Row down the hallway, them hearing old Chippy. That's how you handle a pedophile. Oh, and William Barr was with the law firm that worked Jeffrey Epstein's deal, which is why William Barr has to recuse himself from the Epstein case, except he's not gonna. So Barr's dad hired Epstein. Barr worked for the law firm that defended Epstein. Trump hired Barr, and Trump is friends with Epstein. And here's how Alex Acosta, presidential cabinet member and labor secretary, handled it when he was in charge of the case. Now, charge of trafficking a minor for sex is up to 5 years per incident in prison. And prisoners love pedophiles. God. Epstein had dozens of girls, and he did this too. So let's say conservatively, he would have had 120 years possible jail time. He got 18 months. Okay, he still did time. But hold on, he was only in for 13 months, and he got to leave jail. When did jail get a time clock? You get a punch in? Now he's a convicted child sex trafficker and got to leave jail? 12 hours every day. That's right, kids. He got night-night jail. Worked all day, did what he wanted, and then the billionaire pervert went night-night. Every day, some new weird thing happens in this administration. Trump's kids run the country. His cabinet cuts billionaire pedophiles sweet deals. And his attorney general, whose father hired Trump's buddy and who worked for the law firm that defended the pedophile years ago, is now going to make a decision on the pedophile who's also friends with the president? It's a weird time, people. It's like a bad copy of a Tarantino movie with none of the cool, packed with old white men and pedophiles. And Kellyanne Conway playing Uma Thurman if she was made out of pipe cleaners, barbed wire, and hate. Samuel Jackson will be played by this guy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
We are living in a clown nightmare. MAGA! I'm Christopher Titus, and this is the Armageddon Update. Hey everybody, Christopher Titus, Titus Podcast. How you doing today? With me, as always, to the right, the lovely Bombshell Ray.
What's up, people?
And this week, people, since we've gone to the vid pod, I have to be honest with you. It's a weird thing. You want to get guests, and you want to get guests that are good, and you want to get guests that don't suck, and you want to get guests that are actually have some notoriety, so the podcast doesn't look like, this is Steve, the guy that delivers our mail. So with me today is a dude who I saw, and I've only seen it once, do a 10-minute comedy set as a guest set and get a standing ovation. Fuck this guy. Ladies and gentlemen, Brad Williams.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And
What is this? Did I?
Oh no! So Brad's all like, "Hey man, I'm really just starting out. I want to go."
this was like 13 years ago.
I really want to.
Wow.
I want to do some comedy, and that's what I like to do. So can I do guest set? I'm like, sure, of course. Poor little guy.
Pobrecito. And then
Gets up and does like boom, and I'm like, ah. And he did 10 minutes. They stood up.
Yeah.
Not that you didn't manufacture it, but you still got him to do
Okay,
it.
there is ways, and I want to put this out to comics. Is there are ways that you can kind of influence a standing ovation.
Yes,
you kind of pause and you milk it a little longer than you should.
A little bit of this.
A little bit of this, a little bit of like,
You.
yeah. I mean, when I pointed at them and said, "Stand, you asshole," that was. I mean, someone say that hit it on the head, but whatever.
The problem is this, though: if you're not really funny, they won't.
Oh, they will. Oh, they will not.
You can't fake it. They have to be like, yeah, you're so funny. They were like, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
it's, and I've seen it go the other way, where I've seen a comic not do as well and be like, "Yes, my friends," and they're just like, "No."
I saw a guy years
horrible.
ago. I'm not going to give his last name. A guy named Frank, and he was one of these guys that would stay on stage trying to find a closer. And he would just,
wow.
like sometimes so he would do 2.5, 4 hours without a closer. Carlos does 4 hours, but Carlos is killing the whole time.
Yeah.
He's destroying the room. This dude was like, he kept going, and we'd be sitting in the back going, he's never going to end. And he'd get off stage and go, I tried to find a closer. Yeah, but you should have known an hour ago when you've done an hour.
I had a comic, I'm not going to say his name, but his first name was Cowboy. And he would...
Now I know who it is.
And he would chase his closer too. And when I was running the clubs, the Funny Bones, this was in the Shreveport when I finally turned the power off. Just killed his mic, turned the lights off, and announced, "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out."
As a comic, that's like... You just know you've gone too long. That's such an extreme move.
Yeah. He was mad at me, but it was like a Wednesday night. Nobody was drinking. I was running a club, not a comic then, so I didn't really get it. But yeah.
But at the same time, the club's not making any more money by him being on stage at that point, and now you're looking at your staff going like, well, I'm gonna have to pay them overtime and for not making any more money.
Well, aren't you just waiting for this person to start vomiting on there? Like there's an audience member who drank too much. You're just waiting for them to vomit. Let's get them out of here before they vomit on the carpet. Get the fuck off.
Yes.
You have to know when to get off. I saw Leno do 2 hours and 15 minutes one time, and he killed the entire time. This was years ago when I started comedy, and he killed. But at 2:15, I couldn't laugh anymore. I was like, I hurt. I was like,
you're done.
And it was fun. Yeah. So I kind of came with this thing. At 90 minutes is what was most I'll do, unless it's a crazy night on second show when I'm doing stuff. But that's about it.
Yeah.
I have a question. So how long had you been doing comedy when you asked for the guest set?
Oh man, that was like 2-3 years in.
Wow.
So
he was really forged in fire with Carlos. He toured with Carlos.
Yeah, and then I was the opening act, but also I was a huge fan, and I'm not gonna pat myself too much on the back, but I was a huge fan of yours. Norman Rockwell's Bleeding is still one of the top 5 specials of all time. I truly believe that, and I'll fight someone who says no.
Good. Now I got Brad.
Yeah. Oh, how confident are you? Everyone's so scared about his attack dwarf. Sick 'em. But yeah, so I knew your audience, I knew your comedy, and I knew that I could go to certain places with your audience that you can't go with other audiences, whereas other audiences you just got to keep hitting them over the head with the hammer. With your audiences, I knew like, okay, I can get a little more emotional. I could tug at the dwarf heartstrings and be like, and I'm doing my best out here, and then everyone's like, he is doing his best.
You don't know how hard it's being.
Let's stand. Like they got it. So I cheated in 2 ways. One, I really knew your audience.
It's funny. So I want to go to Titus's emotionally damaged audience that's willing to follow me down a dark road.
Yeah. Pretty much. Pretty much.
Audience intel. That's awesome.
Like awesome. If you go to Cedric the Entertainer's audience, you're not gonna be like, and that's when my dad touched me. Like you're not gonna do that there.
That's a valid point.
But with your audiences, you're like, all right, here we go.
Like me too.
Yeah.
Every time buddy's dad touched him.
Yeah.
So let's talk. Speaking of dads touching him, let's talk about Jeffrey Epstein.
I'm sorry.
That's a transition.
Come on, people.
Segue,
You
professional.
pointed at me.
doing
That
this
was
a
really.
while.
I was like, did he?
No,
Oh,
you didn't. Maybe that's why I'm like this.
it could be.
Blocked it out.
So here's what happened: is that this guy Jeffrey Epstein was Trump's buddy for many, many years. He was trafficking. They said dozens. So they said it's up to 53 now. 53 girls are coming forward and say basically when they were.
That's like Cosby stats.
Yeah.
That's getting up
Cosby
there.
like, I don't believe this guy's pushing it. I'm a legend and he's pushing it.
He's probably got to be thinking like Babe Ruth watching Hank Aaron come for the record.
Totally.
That's what he would do.
Yeah.
A bunch of young girls would come in and he would just point at one like the Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
I'm that one tonight.
Yeah.
So what he would do is and they were between 14 and 17. That's a kid.
That's a kid. That's a child.
That's
a child.
kid.
But here's the thing. If you're watching on Twitter, a lot of Trumpers are saying, I actually saw an argument with Jim Acosta yesterday on Twitter where the guy said, stop trying to peddle this child molestation bullshit. He was like, she was 14. She's a teenager. That's different.
No, it's not.
I know.
No,
I know.
I listened to Loveline for many years, and
Right.
now I can call, and now I'm lucky enough to call Dr. Drew a friend. 14 is a child.
Yes.
That's a child. It's a teenager. Child. The brain is still not fully
even
developed.
17 is your brain doesn't develop till 25 totally. So
Yeah.
even at 17, you're not making really good decisions.
Right.
And from my own life, I'm pretty sure that my brain wasn't developed. I'm still working on it. I think 3 years ago, I finally locked
You're
it in.
on delayed.
And I'm not saying it's developed totally. It just went as far as it was going to go. So here's the thing. So now here's the weird part about this whole story. So good, pedophiles. They arrested him finally. But if you track it back, because people that like Ray and I, here's what our podcast is about.
Okay.
We take all this crazy shit in the news that everyone gives you really dry, and we try to kind of condense it and distill it to a place where people go, that's what happened? So here's what happened. So this guy, Alex Acosta, who's in Trump's cabinet now as labor secretary, was the guy who cut the deal for Jeffrey Epstein in Florida years ago, that basically all this evidence had come out that he had done this to these girls, and he should have done 40, 50 years. He did 18 months. 18 months. They didn't tell any of the victims what the deal was.
Which is required. It's a victim's notification.
Right. Then, on top of that, he actually got 18 months. He could leave prison at 8 in the morning, 12 hours a day. He got to go from 8 to 10 at night. 8 to 8. And they had to be back in prison at 8. He had this.
So he just slept. He slept in prison.
Yes.
But who gets that? I guess billionaires get that.
Yeah,
So
I guess.
So here's the weird thing. So Epstein, when he was in New York, William Barr, who's the attorney general,
Right.
his father hired Jeffrey Epstein to teach math classes, calculus and physics, and he doesn't have a college degree.
Oh, good.
To teenagers. Basically, he gave him a buffet. He's like, "Okay, you're a pedophile. Here you go. Well, welcome to the child golden corral." And then he walked his ass in.
You want to run a Chuck E. Cheese while you're at it?
Yeah, exactly.
We knew that too. Jesus.
So William Barr's dad gave this guy a job there. Then he got fired for doing shady stuff. His dad did. And then Epstein got fired. And now William Barr is the AG for Trump, and Trump and Epstein used to travel on the plane together. It's like, what the fuck?
And we have video of Trump saying that he likes his girls on the younger side.
Yeah.
Very great guy. Although yesterday
Great
he
guy.
said, not a fan.
Not a, yeah.
Like-
Once you go to jail and they find out so here's what else happened. They broke into Epstein's house when they arrested him.
Yeah.
They found a safe full of CD-ROMs that he had indexed. The dude had a spreadsheet on all the girls, and there's like girls. This is Camille with blah blah. They didn't say who. So the cops and the FBI found all this shit.
That's very like Dexter. That's very like you have it categorized.
That is weird,
It's
right?
very serial killery.
Pedophile with OCD.
Yeah. Jesus.
So check this out. So, and you didn't mention that it's Trump's now labor secretary, Alex Acosta,
Yes, it is.
that brokered that whole deal. So during that deal, this was 2008, there were 32 girls, 32 victims from 14 to 17.
14.
By then, by
See,
2008.
I think there should be a room. Here's the thing. Like I said in the Armageddon update, just buy a wood chipper and climb in. Fuck.
So-
you're useless. We don't need you here anymore.
No.
So the grand jury, they subpoena his computers because they want to get all this evidence and they want him to register as a sex offender. So by entering into this plea deal, it delayed all of that. It held it off. So Acosta So during that time, while it was being delayed, he shipped himself, we haven't heard this yet, a 55-pound shredder and a carpet and tile extractor to his Palm Beach home from the Virgin Islands.
Wait.
Sure, because that's normal. You know, like you're not getting a wet dry vac. It's like, oh, why do you need the paper shredder and a tile extractor? We're doing some remodeling. Yeah, we were trying to clear.
How bad was the hurricane?
Yeah.
Because you
Son of
a 53-pound shredder. Like, so what? That's what you put bodies in. Right?
Yeah,
like,
that's like Fargo territory. That's pretty crazy.
So. And tile extractor, and like, so that means he buried shit or had to pull up tiles. He just
sent himself in March of this year a 191-pound tile and carpet extractor, again from the Virgin Islands, to his New York time house as soon as it came up that he might get prosecuted again.
Is that something that destroys carpet and tile because to get no DNA evidence?
I would say he's using it.
Which is like, for God's sake, be a little neater if you're going to rape kids.
See, learn from Dexter. Put the tarps up everywhere and then throw it all away.
Everywhere there's a Home Depot.
Yeah, come on, man. That's oh god.
His attorneys are saying that many people own tile and carpet extractors and 53-pound paper shredders.
Many serial killers. All the serial killers.
By the way, I have to say this. You know who I feel really bad about in this entire Trump administration is all the attorneys, because there's no defense to so many of this. And the attorney's like, well, a lot of people, your best is, a lot of people have axes and machetes in their house all the time.
That's your argument.
In their bedroom.
Like, I think Harvey Weinstein is now on his third set of attorneys because he's fired the first two sets.
Right.
Because they were incompetent. And you just,
right.
Yeah, because they were incompetent in defending the mass rapist. Yeah. And you're just like, and now this third attorney has to come in and these attorneys should really get Academy Awards, because with straight faces, this attorney has to go, listen, I've looked at the evidence, and it's an open and shut case. My client is innocent. Like, with a straight face, they do.
And Harvey Weinstein's going, huh?
Yeah. Huh? Watch any Mark Garagos press conference. These guys they're committed.
Yeah.
They're unbelievable. And I'm friends with Garagos.
I would giggle. I'd be like, so, by the way, Mr. Weinstein is totally innocent. Sorry, give me a second. Let me do it again. I'll do it again.
Take two.
Sorry, Your Honor. Look, Mr. Weinstein did nothing in this movie. That's what I'd be the worst attorney
Why are we hiring actors and actresses? Get these attorneys.
Right, the attorneys.
That's
I'm gonna cast my entire next movie with just attorneys.
Just attorneys.
Best actors.
And you're like, what method are you using? The law. That's what the method of bullshit. Oh, is that a Stanislavski? Yeah. No, it's.
Well, we went through five attorneys with my divorce, and man, you're right. Some of them can just get.
It wasn't that they were incompetent. Well, they all were fairly incompetent.
I haven't met a great attorney.
It was that we were just going cheaper and cheaper as the money ran away. We were like, now we have the $100 an hour guy.
I will say this. It's funny. You say you never been a competent attorney. This is where I go. And my father is an attorney. But I will say this. There were times he would come home to me, because he was a defense attorney, and he would describe the things that he said and did to get guys that are obviously they've done some bad things, to make sure they got either less sentences or in some cases off.
Wow.
And he would describe, I remember even as a young kid, I'd be like, Dad, why do you do that when that's not, that's not good? And when you know, right? And his defense was always the same thing, where he would say, our legal system demands every person get defense under the law.
Representation.
Like, they get representation.
But how did that "you're not allowed to lie" conversation go in your house? As a kid.
How did that go? Are you lying to me right now? Dad, you're an attorney.
You're an attorney. Like, what can I say? I can say anything in this house. Oh no. My absolute favorite one was this is right when I was getting my my driver's license. I was like, I'm gonna get a handicap parking placard because under the law, I am legally handicapped. Do I think I'm handicapped? No. But am I legally? Sure. And do I? And sometimes I want to get that spot. So cool.
We all do.
I'm gonna get the handicap parking placard. And my dad goes, no, son, you can't. Like, it is immoral. You cannot get a handicap parking placard. And my comeback to him was, Dad, You bought a mannequin from a golf shop, put it in your passenger seat so you could use the carpool lane on the way to work.
Did he really?
That's a true statement. He did that. And by the way, here's how creepy it was.
I love your dad.
Because he did that, and then he only needed the top part of the mannequin.
Oh my god!
So the naked mannequin legs were hanging in the top of our garage.
Oh my
so
god!
So you'd walk out, you just see spread eagle mannequin legs in the roof, and you're like, this looks like a house of horrors.
Was that your awakening? Oh my god! I'm going to the garage. Brad, get out of the garage. You're 15. Get out of the garage.
Why do you have a stepladder? I gotta get out there. But like that was my comeback. Like, you do that, and he goes, that's completely different. And I go, how?
Yeah. Do you have a bit like this?
I don't. This is off the top of my head.
You know what's an awesome bit would be like you talking to your dad, like the lie conversation, and then you just using the law to get out of shit. Because that's a weird thing. Your dad was an attorney and a defense attorney, like a criminal defense attorney.
Yeah, well,
like bad guys.
Well, because he was a public defender.
Oh no!
For 20 years.
She's criminal justice.
So he had the worst.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not only the worst, but the ones that can't afford. Like,
right.
So, and he has so many clients that he's just it's turn
It's
and
a mill,
burn
yeah.
when you're a public defender. You don't have time to be like, let's law and order this situation and look at DNA evidence. You're just
dun dun.
Yeah, none of that. Just constant plea deals. So like he did that for 20 years and then was a civil defense attorney.
Yeah, it's weird is that I read about you last night. I was doing a little bit of research and they were saying they don't have, like, even on Wikipedia, they don't have a lot about your parents.
Yeah,
is that a reason? Is there a reason for that?
I don't know. My dad to this day doesn't have a cell phone, so there's probably no electronic public record.
I love that he's been around criminals for so long. He's like, I'm off the grid.
Pretty much. No, there were a couple of cases which he told us he's like, hey, if you ever hear this name call the house, you hang up and you just do not talk to them. Like, there's definitely a couple people out there that probably want my dad dead.
Does he live here?
So he lived like Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Like, Dad, there's a helicopter.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't look up at it.
Ignore it.
Yeah.
There was a couple people. I won't say where he lives, but for that reason.
Right after I said that, I was like, oh, you.
Yeah. Well, he's in witness protection in this lovely small street in Iowa. No, but like, yeah,
it's the Blue House.
Yeah, it's a Blue House. It's this weird thing where it's like that, and it's got to be weird for him knowing that, like, he's scared of all these criminals that are kind of after him, and his son is the world's largest keychain. Like, I am. You cannot miss me. Like, it's like I look around and some people can throw on, like, if they don't want to be recognized, they throw on like glasses, a hat, a sweater, whatever the hell.
So everybody, just so you know, his dad is named Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams, that's his dad.
Yeah,
and so if you have a problem with Billy D, don't take it out on Brad.
Yeah. That had to be weird for him.
The good news is Williams is it's not a specific name.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's like Smith.
There's a lot of Williams.
Yeah, there's a lot of Williams.
So when you started comedy with Carlos, and then you decided. Now, as good as you were, and Carlos, look, I know the whole thing. The thing with Carlos, when South Park goes after you, I was like, that's the moral compass of our country. South Park is the moral compass. So it was kind of like real. And then I know he went through all that horrible stuff. Mm-hmm. But before all that happened, when you were on the road with Carlos, it had to be. It really would tune him up too. You going in front of him had to tune him up. You're really solid, really unusual in the sense there's not a lot of there's not a whole section of dwarfs out there doing comedy.
Oh my God,
there's a couple.
You say that, but the owner of the Laugh Factory, Jamie Masada, he did not have that belief. He goes, buddy, here's what we do, buddy. We have all dwarf comedy night, buddy. All dwarf comedy night. We have all dwarf audience, buddy. And I'm like. That I can get 3, and that's
wow. That's fucked up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's kind of the king of, like, it's Asian night, it's Black night, it's that. So it's like he's like, here's another night, and did
he do it?
No, thank God, because you couldn't find enough dwarf comics. There's
Exactly.
there's 3 of us. There's literally 3 of us.
And then all dwarf audience?
Nope, that's not gonna happen.
That's not gonna happen.
That's not gonna happen. Yeah, the fucking handicap spots would be taken up too quickly. Oh God, it'd be horrible. But yeah, but those were fun times when I was touring back in the day and did like I did what I call a 4-year internship, and then you kind of go off and you go, all right, because I didn't want to be an opener. Like I'm not gonna mention names, but I know guys that have been feature acts for 20 years, and I'm like, go.
Yep.
Leave the nest.
Yep.
Go.
Ray's she's 10 years in and we're about to film her first special. And I keep saying that. I said, listen, we're doing theaters and stuff. I go, I want them to come. I want you to sell as many tickets as I do, because then that doubles our theater size.
Well, and then you could, see, you guys have like the best thing where you're the couple, but then you're also on the road together. So the road doesn't affect your relationship the same way it does many comics.
Right.
But then at the same time, now gears got to be turning in your head like, wait, we could double our incomes.
Yeah,
totally.
I could make my income doing this, and you can have your income doing clubs on the road. Like, and that'd be killer too, and it helps you grow as a comic.
Yeah.
We actually heard from several places that we worked, Denver being one of them, that you, back in the day before you were married, were very popular with the ladies on the road.
This motherfucker had a T-shirt.
Yeah.
This dude had
that he said, me?
He had
me.
I want to be very clear. He had a T-shirt specifically made so he could get laid.
Yeah.
I love the shame. That was the right amount of shame.
Sexual bucket list T-shirt.
That was the right amount of shame.
Where like I had a sexual bucket list T-shirt that had all these different things on the back, and that you could buy the shirt and then check off what you've done, and I had the dwarf box on there, and it was not checked off, and I'm like, but I'm here, and wow, and
it worked.
That worked.
Wait, didn't you close with a lap dance or something?
Yeah, I did that a few times. That was way before Me Too, and thank God I stopped it.
Yep. Well, by the way, even if it wasn't Me Too, thank God you stopped it.
Yeah. Thank God I stopped it.
When I started, there was a guy named Perry Kurtz. He ended his show with it, and then I think Bobby Lee does it too. It's good. Whenever I see another guy do something, I just go and I just back away.
Yeah, but listen, there was a time before I was married where I've laid waste. I've laid waste on the road. There's a comedy club in Washington where they have a Brad Williams rule, and the Brad Williams rule. This is one of. Yeah,
I can guess it.
Oh, the Brad Williams rule is no audience members are allowed in the green room alone with a comedian, because I was there one time. This is one of Tribble's clubs. Okay. Tribble is a famous comedy booker.
Always drawing the highest level class of audience.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So there was an incident at this particular club. I think it's Jokers in Richland. It might still be there.
We always want specifics so we can actually get sued.
Yeah, let's do it. Where the Brad Williams rule, because I got a lovely young lady, and she was very, very forward with what she wanted, and I was like, sweet. So we go back to the green room, and then what she did not tell me is that she had a boyfriend with her at the show, and she left the boyfriend. So he's pounding on the door, I'm pounding on the girl, and it was wow, stress boners. Those are fun. Wow. So like, then
hold up, I'm not done.
We finished.
Yeah, they had security have to like take him out, and then I'm looking at the girl like, what? You didn't even tell me that? And the girl was like, he'll be fine. I'm like, really?
Yeah, really?
Or can I now never come back to this city? Like, do I need to have a tracker?
I had in one of my clubs, there was one bathroom in the bar, one woman's, one men's, and the woman's bathroom had been locked for a long time. And John Reep was performing, and allegedly, when he was introduced by the middle act, was bringing him up, and he never came onto stage because he was coming in the bathroom, allegedly with an audience member in the bar area
before his set.
Oh, yeah, they had called him, and we were like, where is he?
By the way, hey, cheers.
Cheers. That's a stat I don't have.
Before your set.
Talk about a stress boner. I don't think I could do that.
I don't have the before the show stat. That's pretty good.
I don't think women comics have that. And women get hassled so much all the time. They're just like, here we go again. Men are like, I don't know. On the road, I didn't do it a whole lot because I always thought I'm going to get a disease and die. You know, you got to remember, you
had your dad as an example.
I started coming in '87. That's when AIDS was actually killing motherfuckers. You died. You just died. Wait, can't figure it out.
Yeah,
you died.
Yeah. So I could see that.
Yeah.
I guess my philosophy was I already got dwarfism. They won't give me something else. Nothing worse than dwarfism.
That's thinking.
That's a guy that went to medical school.
Odds?
Yeah.
But why comedy? Why did you get into comedy?
Because here's the thing: is it gave me the time where I'm someone when I walk around, I get a lot of people staring at me, and then I would always have this thing where like kids would stare at me, and then the parents would tell the kid something that would just immediately shut the kid up. So like, and sometimes it would be really quick things like, oh, he's special or he's whatever. Sometimes it would just be bullshit things like the kid didn't eat his vegetables, the kid works for Santa, but like that was explanations I heard. One thing that happened one time was a dad once walked up to me in a mall with his son and said, you see, son, he's working for Santa, but it's his off season. He's an undercover elf. He does this, and he's winking at me like, hey, play along. So I was like, all right, and I played along.
Here we go.
And I looked at the set, and the kid went, yep. I'm an undercover elf. I'm looking around seeing who's naughty, who's nice. You been good? He's like, yeah, I've been good. I go, great. What's something you want more than anything in the world? He goes, I want an Xbox. I go, you're getting 2. And then I go, like, do you want a bike? He goes, I don't have a bike. I go, you're getting a bike. Now the dad's making the and then I add this line. I go, you're getting all that. I'm like Oprah. I'm like, you're getting an Xbox, a car. And then I tell the kid, I go, the only way this won't happen is if your father fails to file the proper paperwork.
Oh, so it was his fault.
And the kid looks back like, Dad, make sure you get on that and the dad is furious with me. Now I was like, hey, you open the door, buddy.
Dude, motherfucker, hey, you actually did the most horrible, racist, degrading bullshit.
I don't know that it's racist, but
I think it is.
It's in that. Yes.
Sizist. That he did that to you is brutal. And now, how often does that happen?
Oh, I mean,
because although you've gotten huge in comedy, not everybody knows you. Not everybody knows us. Sure. So does this still happen?
Yeah, every day.
Fuck.
Like every day and
being a tall white male.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I imagine. It's so weird because that kind of stuff will happen every day in some way, shape, or form. Stares, comments, whatever. But then I was in a room pitching a TV show about a month ago, and the executive sitting across from me actually said this sentence. He goes, well, we're actually looking for more like minority driven content. And I was like,
what?
Who's the bigger minority? Like, what? They're like, oh, so you want like a certain show, but like a certain type of people have an entire network. I don't like. So
if I was a Guatemalan dwarf, we'd be fine.
Yeah,
because I'm a white male dwarf.
Yeah, transgender. Guatemalan.
Yeah, totally. And I went, I don't know if I should be pissed at you or really happy because now you're looking at dwarfism as nothing.
Well, that's the thing. We've kind of skipped right over you.
Yeah.
Because now we're dealing with women. That's a short one. But we've got transgender, homosexual. We've got Latino. Dwarfs, they don't care. Man. We've gone right over it.
Nothing.
Tell me if this is true. I don't know if you remember this, but I went on an audition many years ago, and you were next door auditioning for Santa's Elf.
Mm-hmm.
You and Brad, another Brad.
Yeah. Brad Gailey.
Yes. And another dwarf, different type of dwarfism walked by. He was like one of those doll-looking people, totally proportionate. And you guys said hi to him, and then he kept walking, and you were like, asshole, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And I went, what is the deal? You guys,
we're sizist. Like,
yes.
And that's why
I told you.
That's why I will tell you, racism will never fully end.
Right. I can't.
Racism is like Jeff Goldblum talking about life in Jurassic Park. Oh, it finds a way. Yeah. It finds a way. Yeah. Like all these white people that say like we should get rid of all the minorities. then we'll end up hating the Irish.
Right,
We'll
exactly.
end up hating redheads. We'll end up hating, like,
yeah, that just got red hair. Yeah,
we'll find a way. Like racism finds a way. Like
all the men will be. They'll go, all right, guys, you got to show up to your penis measuring. Why? Because all the short guys are over there. We will find
and
a way.
They said that he was cocky because of the type of dwarfism that he had.
Yeah, because he's like all proportionate, and we have like. Because I have like I have different
but I get
things
the
are
same,
different
this giant
sizes.
skull. I get the same problem. I'm not proportionate. I'm not like my head shows up in camera. Like that guy. Is that? Are we closer? Is he one of those bobblehead guys?
Yeah. So when that happens, I got into stand up to bring it all back because I got into stand up so I could be the one controlling the message. Because when you're a comic, it's just you on stage. You get to talk about it. So it's not some writer that is writing an elf part, or it's not a producer that says like I've heard my opening act right now is a really talented comic, JB Ball, really funny, from Tampa, Florida, black guy, and he's telling me stories about going into auditions and producers saying, could you be a little more urban?
Yeah.
Like, can you black it up a bit? And I hear those, I'm like, holy
I get that.
shit.
Yeah. I get that a lot.
Like, what? Be
I'm
more white?
so white. No, I'm so white. They go, can you black it up a little bit? Like, you're really.
Well, but you can, because you've got that voice.
Oh, I can if I want to, baby.
I love that voice. Anyway, but yeah, so like, but when you're doing stand up, there is no producer saying, "Hey, can you do like a dwarf thing right now?" Like there's nothing that. There's just the message that you want to convey. So,
which is great about you do, and I think there's a lot of comics that don't have the balls. Okay, so I always believe this, and you know over the years I've written a bunch of stuff. I believe take the subject that pisses you off the most, fucking attack it, and don't go around it. Don't touch it. Fucking take a chainsaw and cut through it.
I like it.
And then figure out the funny on the way. That's what I usually do. You do the same thing with this. Well, I was watching your first special, and I love that you went into, you know how to get the audience laughing, but then you go into some serious. In the second special too. The second one was that one was what you did. Yeah,
that was my personal favorite.
Yeah, and you know
issues.
why? Because there's a point when and she's starting to have this now with her second show she's working on, where the second you really funny, look, once you get funny, it got funny. Well, now it's just I can do 1,000 versions of this.
Yes.
Or I can tell the truth.
Yeah.
And just go, by the way, no one wants to really hear this.
Yeah.
Let's make it funny and make you want to hear it. Make you happy you heard it. And that's what you did in a way, especially for the disabled community. And I hate that fucking word because you're obviously not. But like honestly, like I have a special unit too. I have the idea for special unit too.
Yeah.
And you're the lead in it for the bad guys.
Do it up. I'm there.
Yeah,
but
good.
can you be more dwarfy when you do it?
I need you to be.
I can have a limp. I can have that little arm thing.
All right, good.
You never go full dwarf.
But then you're getting to a point now when you're stand up where you're starting to dive into some more.
We know how I'm sorry. You know when your original stuff you started with, you start to hate. That's where she's at.
I
right
hate my first show.
Oh, that's good.
My second show.
That's a good sign.
Is about my mom getting cancer, me being her caregiver, and then I lost my mom. So it's from beginning until end, and I broke in some of it, and that's all I want to do now.
Yes.
And he's getting mad because I need to film the first one, and I'm like, I don't like that. I don't want to do it anymore. Women should be strong and I want to talk about my mom.
You got to remember, she's toured under me for 9 years, so it's been like I'm an intense guy, and she's really
he's a genius.
Like her stories and stuff are awesome, and I go, listen, my first special I dumped before I wrote Unravel. I dumped 2 hours of material because it wasn't good. You've actually got this good stuff. I want to lock it down because then I want people to come to your next one. We need that to get people to your next one. You needed your first one to get people to go to the second
next one.
Yeah.
And that's something else. But that's great that now you can look back on material and hate it because that means you're growing.
Yeah.
Right.
Bill Burr said this great thing one time on a podcast where he said it takes 10 years to build your joke machine. Yeah. The Brad Williams joke machine, where now you could drop in any topic into the joke machine, and then a fully formed Brad Williams joke comes out.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and I thought there you go, because I've heard find your voice. Carlin says 10 years to find your voice. I don't know what that really means, but when Burr described it as a joke machine, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Now I get it.
You're a journeyman joke writer now.
Yeah.
You can take any subject, write the first sentence, and your punchline will pop out of your head.
Right.
In your voice.
But I think also up until then, I can look back and see how I was like, dun 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 dun. You know, like me. Do you love love me. And now I'm like, I don't like you, and this is what I think.
I don't like you, and this is what I think. That's the best description of when you finally know you're a good comic.
Yeah. Exactly. I don't like you, but here's my thoughts.
That's exactly.
It's funny. So my wife watched the Hannah Gadsby special and Nanette, and then because I told her, I'm like, you have to watch this special.
Right.
You have to watch it. I go read nothing about it. Just watch it and tell me what you think. And then she came back with the thing that tripped me out, where I go, what'd you think about it? And she goes, she raped me with her trauma. And I was like,
wow.
Like,
wow.
That's what comics kind of do.
Yeah.
Is we say, hey, you're getting this trauma, you're getting these issues, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Thanks for helping us get better from it. Go enjoy your night.
Now you go deal with this shit.
But here's, I think we have a responsibility too. You can't look at. I'm sure in your life, there's been some dark moments that in the moment there was no funny in them.
No funny.
Now, so you have a choice. You can actually tell that story, which I've seen comics do. Because you got to remember, when I wrote Norman Rockwell's Bleeding, Seinfeld was the best comic. And I was talking, my mom killed herself, and I'm doing all this shit. Yeah. And then comedy kind of changed, and everybody got. I'm not saying I did it, but everybody, the alternative guys, everybody got more real. If you don't make it funny, like, my job is not to scare them. My job is I don't want to leave you like, oh fuck. I want to leave you like, man, that was some dark shit, but it made me laugh.
Well, it's the movie The Prestige.
Yes.
You always have to have you always have to bring it back. You always have to have the joke.
I don't mind I always say, come to the darkness with me, but I'm bringing you to the light. I'm not going to leave you in the darkness.
Well, and that's why in the second special that I did, Daddy Issues, where I talk about my dad's cancer, I couldn't do that until a year or two after he beat it.
Yeah.
Like, I was too in it.
Yeah.
I was too talking, and I would try to talk about it, and I realized I wasn't ready because the looks on the face of the audience were like,
yes.
Okay. So, dwarf, that's weird. Okay, let's talk about that. Let's bring it all back. Let's happy.
I didn't play football. I was a football. Hello, everybody.
Yeah.
So
happy.
But here's what I think you do is that, like, because I agree with that. So what I did when I first wrote Norman Rockwell, when I started talking about my mom's mental illness, I have told this before, I started to cry on stage. Yeah. And this new show, Stories I Shouldn't Tell, are stories that she kept telling me, you got to tell that story. I go, Ed, that story ain't funny, and I can't deal with it yet.
Mm-hmm.
And
For decades,
wow.
yes. For as long as we've known each other. And then I finally decided, I kind of crept into it a little bit, and then I realized one day, well, fuck, I got to write a new special. So I just did it.
Yeah.
And I was doing this club. I booked a really small club just because I'm reading it. It's new. And I walked off stage and I sat down in the green room and I started crying, and I didn't.
Oof.
It was weird, and I was like, okay, all right, okay, next step, and the audience laughed, and it was the first time I went to a therapist. My therapist was a guy named Dr. Jerry Ozil, who fucking was a Menendez brothers therapist. I don't trust therapists at all.
Wow.
Yeah, that was my therapist. I talked about it in Norman Rockwell. Yeah, so I'm not going to a fucking therapist. He's the guy who sold him out. He had 3 mistresses, and he's the guy that told all his mistresses that I got these 2 guys that killed their parents, and I can't say anything. And if you say anything, they're gonna kill you. So one of them went, hey, to the cops, fucking kill him. So that's how those guys went down. He was my touchstone. So I went to that guy.
That was your totem.
Yeah, exactly.
From Inception.
So, exactly.
Spinning the top.
So I don't trust therapists, and comedy's done so much for me. And now what's happened is like with Norman Rockwell, the bit about my mom's mental illness became absurd, and I started to see how absurd human beings are.
Mm-hmm.
And now this new show's done that. And I think that's what happened with your dad. You have to deal with it because we make stuff, human beings, make stuff so significant all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And comedy, our job is to actually take the significance out and point at the absurdity.
Yeah.
And that's what you do really well, man.
Well, and it's fun to do, and I don't care how long you do this, but the second you bring in a topic that kind of scares you, but you get a laugh doing it.
Yeah.
Holy shit, does that feel good?
Oh, when can I do that again? Yeah. Oh God.
When she got off stage after doing, she did in Chicago one night. We had a shitty audience second show. It was just like,
it wasn't that. So all of this had happened. I had lost my mom, and our little dog got killed on Christmas Eve.
Sweet Jesus.
And in a bad way, and it was awful, and I was just like done. I was done with everything. And I went to Chicago. I wasn't going to perform, and I was mad. I was mad at everything, and I was like, you know what? fuck these people, fuck comedy, fuck
And I'm this guy.
everybody.
Use that. No, yeah.
Weird
Good.
ass
Actually,
Obi-Wan.
this is what I like.
The
Yeah.
transformation is complete.
Exactly.
yeah.
I can teach you no
So
more.
I was like, I'm not going out there and doing this same old crap. I'm going to go
Yeah.
out there without writing it, which I've never
She riffed
done,
it.
and riff these stories about my mom ultimately dying and
Yeah.
something that I got after that.
Yeah, she didn't get the upside that he cured it.
Yeah.
In fact, even I got mad at you and said, I was like, no, well, yeah, good for you. Yeah, that's a rough story. He survived. Awesome.
Was that hard for you?
Yeah.
Was that
hard
hard?
that he made it through and you had a victory?
That's
Good
how
for you.
bitter I am all the time now. I was
Good job,
watching
Brad.
Queer Eye for the Straight Guy the other day screaming at the TV like, oh, is that hard? Did you
Oh.
survive cancer, you asshole?
You survived it. This is me on a much lighter scale. When I watched the NFL draft this past year, and the number one overall pick, Kyler Murray, quarterback from the University of Oklahoma, and he's 5'11", and the announcers would not shut the fuck up about how he must have
Shorty.
struggled
Oh my
at 5'11", and I'm just screaming at the TV, "What struggle? How hard was your life at 5'11"? Oh, tell me about all the. Tell me.
Yeah.
Oh, so is it a little harder to climb over all the pussy that was being thrown at you as you're getting to the field?
What are
piece
you
of
talking
shit?
You had
about?
to get a ladder. Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to make a T-shirt to get laid.
Yeah,
I did.
Although you're legendary on the road
Yeah,
for
you're
that.
legendary,
I'm
man.
just saying.
Yep.
But anyway, so I went and did
It
it,
was
and
fun.
they laughed at this, and I
Good.
came off stage like, it's like,
It's
oh,
an
man.
emotional.
Well, she did what you
roller
said.
coaster.
She got on stage and took it to where I heard her start it, and I was in the green room and I walked out. You know, Chicago Club, that
Yeah.
but I stood in the back and I was just watching because I'm like, I know what this takes to do this,
Right.
and I'm like, okay, here she goes, and she walked this story, man, from her mom dying to spreading her ashes, and then brought it all back around to her, and she's riffing it, which pissed me off because I'm like, I gotta write this shit, and at the end, she got this crazy applause, and I knew it was gonna happen because I've done it before. I can get chills now. I walked backstage to the green room, and she's like.
Yeah.
She was like,
It was
Yeah.
a rush,
like
man.
brand new,
Oh, So the story that kind of started the Daddy Issues special
Yep.
is we were talking about the Comedy Works before the mics went on.
Best clubs in the
it's
country.
One of our favorite clubs. So I'm backstage at the Comedy Works South Club. I know that my dad is going in for a scan. I know that he's getting the results today. My mom has told me that he's getting the results today, and I'm just watching the phone all day. I'm watching the phone. And then literally the show is going on, the phone lights up, it's my mom. I'm like, oh boy, okay, but I have to know. I can't not
show's
pick
already
up that
started?
phone.
The show started already?
Yeah, show
Oh,
started.
God.
Oh, no.
So I'm like, okay, here we go. So
I'm sorry I'm laughing, man.
no, it's funny to me now.
Wow.
I pick up the phone, I answer it, and my mom's first words are, "He's in remission."
Oh.
And I explode into tears. I
Yeah.
go to the ground. The phone's, I gotta go. And then I click.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
Literally, that happened. Meanwhile, the other comics, I've told them that I'm waiting on this news. They see me burst into tears. They're like, oh,
No.
fuck.
Oh, no, his dad's over.
Oh, fuck. Like, that's what they're thinking. And then I just go, ah, okay. And then I go, and then I go on stage. And then I ignored it. I started to do the regular act, and the audience was not having it.
Yeah.
'Cause
They
they
were
knew
staring
you
at me.
were-
They're like, your eyes are welted
They
up.
know the truth. I said this.
Yeah.
They don't know singularly, but collectively, they know when you're lying.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you were lying by not telling
Yes.
them. Awesome.
So then I had to have this moment where I just paused and went, all right. Some of you may be wondering why I look like
yeah.
this. Let's go into it. And I just started talking about it. And that was the seed that became the entire
Wow.
Daddy
Awesome.
Issues special, where you go like, wow. And thankfully they had that recording because the Comedy Works records all their sets. So like I brought that one home. I don't listen to my sets. I'm not
I have the same
I'm not that guy. That one I studied like the fucking Zapruder film. I was like I was going through it like that's something.
Yeah.
And then and then became a special.
So the thing with that is that, and that club, was it South or was it downtown?
South.
So I break in. I have the last 3 specials or 4 specials. When that's coming up, I start writing new material because I know. And this last one, stories I shouldn't tell. I'd written some of it 3 days earlier, and I'm like, all right, guys, you guys ready? It's a ream of paper. It looks like I went to Staples and bought a thing. Kafwap.
It's weird though because their audiences are so good.
Yeah.
And they're discerning. They'll go with you hard if you put some work into it, but you don't want to disappoint those audiences. I don't know why. Like other cities, you're like, oh, they'll like it, but Denver, you're like, they have to like it. It has to, you know.
Well, that's your judge. Like, because if you bomb in Denver, if material bombs in Denver, you're like, this is shit.
Yeah, you made a bad decision.
Yeah, this is shit.
What you picked isn't funny.
No.
Yeah.
You could say like, oh, this one tiny B room in whatever state, if it bombs there, it may still be able to do good other places. You bomb in Denver, it's done.
Yeah,
it's
right.
done.
All right, we have to do who we got today.
Yes.
Harry's?
I don't know.
You have to look it up. Job, that's your job. You only have one job.
He's very interesting.
He always has. That's why I wanted. By the way, we've had Kathy Griffin, Tony Horton from P90X, Richard Marks is coming on next week.
Awesome.
And I never wanted to do and there's comics I love, but I didn't want this to be a circle jerk podcast.
Yeah.
Well, we just comics. And you had to. I kept thinking about who do I really want on, and it was you, Jake. There's like 6 guys that I really want on, and then I'll pick some more after that. But you've gone through what you've had to do, and I can't. Again, it's the same thing that I have with being a white male. I don't know what my black friends have gone through, but I know they go through shit every day.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll never get it, but I am aware of it. And that you do that at one point. At what point do you have to be do you just want to get so tired of it you just start killing people? Like where you're just because I get sometimes if the news said when I see some white male snaps in a fucking school with a gun, I'm like, what the fuck are you upset about?
What were you going through?
If I see dwarf loses shit on Christmas in mall,
you're like,
I get it.
I get it. Totally get it.
Totally.
And then
knew that was coming.
Hey,
who had today?
Yeah, exactly. I totally understand that. And it's so weird that you can look at that, and I'm very much the same way. Where you see some people, you're like, yeah, I get the anger, totally understand it, and holy shit, I know it's been said a bunch of times, but get yourself some friends that don't look like you, and ask them some questions, because I've learned a lot talking to people and being like, hey, because I'm coming at it from the white male perspective, so a certain thing will happen in the news, I'll be like, son of a bitch, these ungrateful, and then my black friend will be like, here's why they're mad, and they break it down for me. I'm like, oh,
I always say,
I'm mad now too.
When I started doing comedy, I toured on the road, and we do the horrible gigs where you're in someone else's car that smells like cheese, and you're driving hours and hours, and my dad was kind of half a racist, and he would be like, I can't believe people are bitching about it. But he's also the guy, if 3 guys were beating up a black guy, he's the first guy to jump in, and he did this before. We was like, get off this dude, this ain't right.
Yeah.
So he was like that. So he would go, these guys are just bitching welfare. And I said, Dad, every black comic I've toured with, every single one of them, 2A1, there is no exceptions, has a story about getting pulled over, ripped out of his car, and bounced off the hood. And I go, and I know these guys. They're not those guys.
Right.
And I said, so when you start to realize it's a systematic thing, and I didn't get it till recently about you, and I thought, oh, you go through it too.
I've never had a gun pulled on me.
Right.
But like,
he has the whole white
no one's doing that. No one's going, hold on. We got a dwarf. We got a dwarf.
So
I'm just saying he is a dwarf, but he's got white male.
Yeah. So it balances out. So fun story.
You think someone does that? Yeah, black dwarf. Do you think that happens? Does that happen?
Okay, maybe
fun.
You're right.
Fun story that kind of shows the dwarf and the white guy thing. So I was doing a road gig where we were driving to Northern California. It was me and this comic from the Inland Empire. I think you know him. His name is Bruce Jingles.
Oh, I know Jingles. Yeah, okay. Jingles. Bruce Jingles, awesome.
Everyone loves Jingles. So he's in the passenger seat. I'm driving.
A dwarf with a guy named Jingles.
Yeah.
Sorry. Please tell me I'm not the first one to say that.
Jingle Bell. Okay. And then we're driving, and this cop comes up next to us. Now, I'm driving. This is before I had my beard. And the cop looks over, sees me driving, sees Bruce in the passenger seat, and I'll never forget this, looks at me and mouths the words, "Are you okay?"
Oh, my God.
And I looked, and because I'm a piece of shit comedian, I go, no.
Oh, God.
And I gun it.
Oh, no.
What an asshole. And how hilarious is that?
Oh, it was so funny. It was so funny because so for a while, both Bruce and I had this joke and we didn't care because it was so goddamn funny. So like we were just thinking to ourselves, what's in the cop's brain?
Yeah.
Like, is he looking over being like, that black guy kidnapped that kid and now he's making the kid drive?
Yeah,
like,
now he's forcing him to drive.
What the fuck? So
putting his life in danger.
yeah, so the guy pulled us over but then
Oh no.
yeah, but then I stopped it. I stopped the joke there because I didn't want Jingles
To watch
to
you just
die.
get his ass kicked out on the 5.
I didn't want that to die, so the guy like pulled me over and said license, and I showed him the license and everything. And he's like, and who's this guy? I'm like, he's a comedian. We're on over the show.
Did the cop get that you fucked with him?
Yeah, he got it. Thankfully, he got it.
Was he laughing or was he upset?
He was mad, but not like he's that mad where he's like, keep it under 65, like that kind of mad where he's just like,
So he had to check his racism. He like, wow, I'm a dick.
Yeah.
So he got that you fucked with him because he was being a dick. That's
And just so you don't think that Christopher doesn't also face adversity, I just want you to know that probably one time, I think there was one time, it was about 3 weeks ago out of the last 20, that he didn't get off on a ticket. The guy actually wrote him a ticket. And I just want you to know.
But he wrote me for 5 over.
But he did write him instead of 20 over.
I did get the white guy coupon break.
Okay, there you go.
Now it's cops being funny. I have a quick story. Me, her, and her brother. Her brother's was running security for us on a Chicago tour. We were driving from Chicago to Milwaukee or something.
We can't to Madison because someone told us that it was faster to drive than
through
fly.
Chicago.
From Detroit. We had to go around the lake.
Right.
Detroit because the ferry was
And so we got in the car, rented a car. Thought it'd be fun. We'll all drive together. And it just did Chicago traffic.
Horrible.
So we're hauling ass. We get past Chicago, and I'm hauling. And we pull over by a cop, and this cop comes up, and he's pissed. And did he? So and her brother, is traveling with a weapon. Did he tell him?
Yeah,
he did tell him. And the guy takes my license, goes back to the car, and he goes, Mr. Titus, he goes, listen, since you're from out of state, I'm gonna have to confiscate your license. You can't drive anymore, and you're gonna have to let him drive. And I'm like, but I have a show. I go, why would you take my license? And he goes, sir, it's just how the rules work. And he kept me going for like a minute and a half. And he's like, I just love your shit, man. And I was like, oh.
See what I mean? He got scared.
Funny
cop. Side of the road one time.
Oh, funny cop.
He also
thank you, funny cop.
Yeah. See, that's the thing.
I was like,
I don't like it when like the guy in position of power does the quote unquote prank.
Yeah.
That's not a prank.
Yeah.
That's not I got you. No, you're a cop. Yeah. I'm not going to be like, fuck you and then fight you for my license back.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not going to do
that's
that.
That's right. I accepted that my license was going away. I guess I'm not going to have my license.
Yeah.
Do you have little people come to your shows?
Yeah. And they're the best. I love it. Because I get like the rebel little people that are like, cool, you say the word midget, we don't care. We don't see anything wrong with the word, and you're saying a bunch of shit that some dwarves
you're
really
like,
don't
you have
like
the same clearance as a rapper would have.
Yeah.
The N-word.
Yeah.
Do you get hate mail from other little people for using those words?
I used to, but now I think people, because the hate mail I got was from dwarves that didn't see the show. They just heard that I said the word midget, and they're like, oh, that's horrible, he's bad, he's exploiting himself. Now I think there's enough of my content out there, whether it be the Netflix special or the 2 Showtime specials or whatever, to where they actually see the whole thing and go, oh, that's what he's doing.
Right.
Okay, and it's good. So I don't really get dwarf hate mail anymore. That, and it takes them a really long time to type. Like tiny fingers. You're running to one side of the keyboard, run to the other side of the keyboard. It's hard.
Really, it's not that they got him better. It's that they gave up.
Yeah, they gave it. He's not backing off.
No.
It's nothing we're going to say it's going to back his ass off, so why is fuck?
That's how people are with you, I think.
Yeah. I love the people that, that certain people have been doing what they've been doing. Like, I listen to both sides on political talk radio. I think it's important to hear both sides and hear what the other side is thinking. So just like I say, like, hey, have some minority friends to where you go, oh, that's your experience. I did not know that.
Right.
I like to listen to liberal talk radio, conservative talk radio. So I know, like, oh, that's why they're thinking wow. And
Right.
so when you talk to someone, you kind of either understand or you understand how to attack them.
Right. There you go.
Know thy enemy.
You don't understand. You're not bullshitting. You're not understanding. You attack. That was the truth. One of those sounded false. One of them said, then you know how to fuck them up. There you go.
That's some art of war shit
I think
there.
the left is crazy. The left is crazy too, man. There's some people on the far left, and I'm like, you're mad about fucking Ariel, like fucking like, and the right is mad about Ariel. Like that's a weird thing
They're
that
mad about Ariel. They're mad that they smoked in Stranger Things, and they're mad that Nicki Minaj is performing in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, knowing what that kind of money is, I'm like,
how are you turning that down?
Listen, I'm not a reporter. I'll go.
Yeah.
They're gonna chop my
they started because I think like the WWE did a couple of shows in Saudi Arabia and we're like, they shouldn't go, and I'm like, do you not know the checks that they're getting?
Ray said, she goes, I'd love to go with my act about alpha chicks. I'd love to perform with Saudi Arabia. She'd make a difference.
How are you going to change it if you don't go say it?
Right. And speaking of changing it, and yours have a beard, today's podcast
another beautiful segue
is brought to you by Harry's Razors. Harry's Razors, by far the best razors I've ever used. We switched. I used to be that shit guy. I would go to the thing and get the guy to unlock the
Which makes
razor.
You feel so degrading.
It really does.
It makes you feel like you're like, hey, I'm getting the 44.
Exactly.
It's a razor.
Exactly.
It's a razor.
Can I get the glass case of razors, please? This is a nice one. Yes.
And they make you wait. They don't show up. It's shameful.
Yeah.
So Harry's got rid of that. You can do it from home, which is my favorite. This is a true story. We actually ran out of Harry's razors because you stole the ones that
I did
were
not
remaining.
steal the razors. She uses them all.
This was right before.
I have this much. She has legs, and she doesn't shave her mustache anymore.
What's here, and what else do you not want to
surface
talk about?
area. Look, you have so much more surface area than
my
me.
Boobs. I gotta
your
shave
boobs.
my boobs.
You run the pits. You run through a lot more razors than I do.
Anyway, we ran out. It was the holiday, and we both panicked, like full-blown panicked. And so I placed an order, and it wasn't going to get there before the holiday, so I placed a second order and had it overnighted. I paid $20. That's how good.
So we have razors into the blades into the apocalypse at this point. We're good. Yeah, we're good.
Because of my panic. Yeah. So that's how good it is. Have you tried it yet? I
do, because they have sponsored my podcast before, the About Last Night podcast, and my wife loves the razors. She uses them on her legs and is very happy with them.
Yeah. And then, with her legs, as am I.
Yeah.
About Last Night podcast.
Yeah.
So all you have to do, you get the trial set right now. It comes with the handle, the 5-blade razor, the shave gel, and the travel blade cover. You just have to go to harrys.com/Titus to redeem your offer, and you get all that. You pay like a couple bucks for shipping.
Harry's face today, the best razors are 5 blades. The German factory is perfect. We have never let a blade leave here that wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
We started a character named Harry Hitler years ago when Harry started advertising, and it was Adolf's brother who started, and we
he was
got
a good
call.
guy. He was like, the brother. He was the good brother.
Let me just say, we got a call.
Yeah. So
how easy is it though to be the good brother in the Hitler family?
That was the point.
Yeah. It's pretty easy. So you're like, you didn't have a genocide. You're the good one.
Exactly.
You had a couple of DUIs. That's okay.
Adolf's like, I hate going to the Thanksgiving because my brother gets out. Oh, look at him. He didn't kill 6 million Jews. I was busy. So
were the Harry's Razor people happy about that comparison?
So then we had a problem. So no, we did it like 2 or 3 times, and then we all kind of went, oh, it's funny. We're laughing, but it's not good.
Yeah.
So Harry's Razor, they were. It was at the beginning. They were really cool. So then what happened was we stopped doing it. Well, I do a thing called Remember This Monday, and I re-put up a podcast in the week, and I happened to put up one from a while ago. I had the Harry Hitler thing on it, and we get a call from our advertiser. Hey, what is it? What are you guys doing?
I thought we discussed this.
Oh, that's good.
It's a rerun.
Well, but have you learned how to deal with authority figures now that can?
I am much better than I used to be.
That can write you checks.
I am much better.
That's good.
I have diplomacy. I found a way to do what I want, and I still have diplomacy.
You typically find a way to tell people that they're stupid for wanting something different, and then at the very end of that tirade, he'll say, "But if that's what you want to do, that's what we'll do."
That's not true.
That's Titus diplomacy.
You just know me so well. Now
you should never be a hostage.
So if I have I would not be good.
You can kill him. That's fine.
Hey, you know what? Fuck it, kill him.
Yeah, fuck it, kill him.
Yeah, what? No, it'll work out.
No, he'll call.
Bang, bang. No.
That's the thing. They always do that scene in the movies where they go, "Fine, kill him. See if we even care." Click. he'll call back.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It's always Kevin Spacey too. Don't worry about it.
So I'm workshopping this new bit, and you guys are a married couple. So you're both fantastic writers. So I think you'll be able to help me out with it. As a married man now, there's a reason why I can't watch. There's a reason why I cannot watch action movies. Not because they're not believable to me. Not because The Rock is pulling down helicopters with a chain.
Right.
I'm all in on that.
Or guys getting hit with a pipe, and Jason Statham gets the pipe and go, "Oh, you think that hurt me?"
Yeah, I'm all good with that. I'm in. It's the part where the damsel in distress is about to fall, and the hero goes, "Take my hand," and then she grabs the hand right away, and then he saves her.
That'll never happen.
That would never fucking
never
happen. Take my hand. Be like, what? Just because you said I could take your hand, now I have to take your hand? I can do this myself, like if there'd been this whole thing.
You might drop me. You're probably gonna drop me.
You'll probably drop me because remember the time I didn't open my car
time?
door? Yeah, I was walking in the car and you let me open my car door. So now you're gonna save my life. You can't even open the car door.
Because women have a bitterness Rolodex.
Yeah.
We just flip.
Women have a bitterness Rolodex.
We had this whole thing
That's
where
clean.
he proved to be wrong about something. It was actually on June 2nd of this year.
Oh my
Sure.
God.
And but because we're comedians and we're friends too, he calls me and I said, "So when do I get to say that I'm right?" And he said, "You know what? You can say it now. You can do your 'I told you so.'" And I go, "You know what? No. I'm just going to save it.
I'm saving it.
For the next time we argue.
Yeah.
Just wait."
Yeah,
And then it was bad because now not only was I, but I admitted it, and then I gave her. So now she's put it away in the quiver.
You
like
can wait.
she's like, "Shh, yeah, that's gonna stay here for a minute." Here we go.
And that's like when you were in high school and your friend was like, "Hey, all right, you did the thing, so I owe you one nut shot." And you're like, "All right, go for it." He goes, "No,
not yet."
When you're least expecting it, and now you're walking around until it happens, like on pins and needles, just fucking worried,
waiting for the.
You knew what you're doing.
The relationship
several saved up.
Oh my, you always do. I never do. I'm a guy. I don't think.
Oh my God, you're so full of shit.
No,
You
I have
so
to.
many saved up.
No, I don't. I don't save them. I just realize, I start doing when I'm fighting. I'll do that thing where I'm like, 4 years ago.
Yeah. That's when we're like the guy who's trying to finish his homework at the very last minute.
Exactly.
We're like trying. What's that one?
It's like an oral report we didn't work on. That's what's happening in the middle of a fight.
Exactly.
All right, so we do some news now.
News, good. Fire
and
away.
now from sea to shining sea, continent to continent, and sometimes space, it's Bombshell Ray bringing you the Bombshell news.
I love this one, and this is kind of like what we're talking about, but it's in Ohio. A 100-year-old man has just married a 102-year-old woman.
Good for that woman. Got a younger man.
Yeah.
They're in assisted living, and they just got married. They dated for a whole year. And then went and got their marriage license.
That shit. And by the way, there may be some other prospects. I'm 100. I ain't done yet. And by the way, Sheila on Wing 4 likes me a lot.
Yeah. And I mean, and they say like the best relationships are the ones where it feels like a new relationship every day. She's got Alzheimer's. It is a new relationship every day.
If they both do, they get to fall in love over and over.
Oh my God.
Well, actually, when they got married,
it's like the Notebook with diapers. It's cool.
The clerk said, "You guys can go get married," and he actually said, "Good, let's get it over with." She turns 103 in early August, and she's already lost 2 spouses.
Good, let's get it over with. Here's the thing. For me, that's at that age, that's a perfect response. Good, let's get it over with.
It was done.
Do you know what's interesting is that kind of to go with that bit idea too, I work at the Salvation Army every week.
Oh, cool.
And I sat in the window one day while a lady in a wheelchair, she had her purse on the back of the wheelchair and her boyfriend was pushing her. These people are homeless.
Yeah.
He wants to get her ID out of her purse to show me so she can get food.
Yeah.
And they start arguing at the window about how she ain't going to eat no goddamn food because she wants him to get out of her goddamn purse. How many times do I have to tell you to get out of my purse? Which is the age-old argument. Don't dig in my purse.
But if I'm homeless, that's all I got is my purse. I kind of get her thing.
We're all the same.
Oh yeah, it's a thing where I said earlier, where like we're never gonna end racism. We're never gonna end spousal fights.
No. By the way, that bit is a great bit because that's a much longer bit. Because how many situations is the guy, the bomb's counting down, and he's like, "Hand me the pliers." Oh, I don't know what a pliers is, so I'm an idiot now?
Yeah.
God damn it! 3, 2, boom. Like there's a whole bunch of scenes.
Oh, every action movie.
Yeah, but you can actually go down like the tropes and just like fucking just nail when the woman is there. Just it will never happen. This would never happen because
and the thing, like you watch the movie. You watch or any movie where like the girl dies and she falls and she starts screaming like like that would never because like my wife would fall and just be like
I'd be like you did
just throw like one last guilt trip
exactly
like right before I die this is gonna be the last thing
I will come back to her.
I was gonna say that. I would tell you my last
fuck
breath.
my sister. That would be that.
Exactly.
That would be
watching.
that. Yeah. Yeah. It's never gonna end. It's never gonna end.
Suspect's loud fart helps police sniff out his hiding place.
Oh, I heard about this.
Did you hear this one? This was
Yeah.
in Clay County. The sheriff's office, they went out to arrest someone and couldn't find him. He was hiding. And PZ's already laughing.
Yeah.
I like that that's what makes you laugh.
PZE
this
in the
whole
corner laughing.
podcast, and he laughs
Right.
at the fart story.
3 professional comedians. He's got
Totally.
nothing.
He's just been like, it sounds right. Farting.
Oh.
That's good.
Awesome.
So they actually tweeted it out so that people would know. They said, if you've got a felony warrant for your arrest, the cops are looking for you, and you pass gas so loud it gives up your hiding spot, you're definitely having a shit day.
Wow.
Well done.
Well done.
I mean,
But here's the thing. So you're there, right? Now we've all been on a date and had it, and
Sure.
you can't get out of the car, or you're in a movie
No.
theater, and you the pain. Imagine you're going to jail, and you're
Right.
trying to hold on to a fight. God, Chipotle, goddamn Chipotle, goddamn Chipotle.
And then that- and then-
shit ain't cabbage.
And then that's when the guy's spouse is right behind him going, you had to eat Chipotle, didn't you? It's your
Exactly.
favorite.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
We're getting arrested now.
it's your pre-Robin ritual.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
gotta eat
And
Chipotle.
you could lose some few
You know-
pounds, have some vegetables.
Now they have that guy should have known because now they have these underwears that has a patch
Yes,
that'll make your farts like
filter.
smell like mint. So like you
Yeah.
fart into the filter and it comes out mint.
Look this up.
I've done this story on the podcast.
that's
I'll
right, I
pull it
remember
up.
this.
I'll show
Yeah.
you. They're called fart underwear. Oh, it came
So they
right up.
basically
Yeah.
put your fart through a carbon filter that's in your underwear.
Well, there's actually a bunch of competition now. There's a thong D for women. If you want to wear a thong and still be able to fart.
Oh God, we're living a great time.
Isn't
we
it?
really
You know.
are, aren't
Who
we?
says capitalism is broken?
And who says we're no longer inventing the things that need to be
And-
invented?
Come
look,
on.
America is not dead.
No.
Go
We've just
on
changed our
YouTube
focus.
and
Yeah.
You can watch. There's a group on YouTube called Ladylike. You know how people do product reviews?
Yep.
This is called We Tried Fart Proof Underwear. So you can go and see.
That fart-proof underwear is gonna save
action.
so many marriages.
Yeah, right.
Because now you can't give a Dutch oven to your lady.
Shreddies.
What's shreddies?
Flatulence filtering underwear. Look,
Oh,
it's
okay.
a whole website.
I love that.
My.
They have
Wow.
flatulence jeans, flatulence pajamas,
Wow.
flatulence
You
cushion.
see there, criminals.
So here's the thing we've come to this because now there's these. I've been listening to this ad on the radio about my hands and my feet sweat. You know, I had gross feet. I'd wear sandals. My feet would sweat. Now we got people. We got like all these weird excretion things. Like when did I don't remember this being a problem in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Now all of a sudden, all our excretions are getting so disgusting that we've actually had to come up with filters for them.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Is it because of what you eat? Why you
Yes.
have to go during a date? Like,
Yeah.
when
I would
we-
imagine.
When we first started dating, he would disappear. Like we'd be talking and he would just disappear.
Oh.
And so I'd go follow him
Yeah.
because he disappeared.
No, it's okay. So I'm trying to be a classy dude.
Yeah.
No.
We did this. We have a cabin up north. We drove all the way home. We get to the house. I'm like, you know what? Let's get a little bubble.
Mhm.
I got a little bubble waiting, sitting there. Yeah, I
we
had to,
feel
had to raise the steering wheel up a little bit. A little
Yep.
bubble.
Yep.
So I get out of the car. I go to check the garbage cans.
Sure.
And as
just
I'm like,
letting
I
loose.
get to the garbage can, I say, "Ferp," and she's like, "Oh my God, she's right behind me. She got out of the car and tracked me. I don't see where you're going. I'm going around the
Over
house.
his
What
shoulder.
do you think? I'm hiding a body? Why are you following me?"
I know now.
She thought that somewhere that's where you were hiding your other horse.
Yeah.
Is over there by
Around the side
is
of
over
the
by
house.
the trash cans. Classic move.
Spends a lot of time over there.
She's not going to be that dumb broad that just lets her man go and fuck
He's
the,
screwing somebody by the garbage can
fuck the trash whore.
after a
By the
6-hour
way,
drive.
I've said that before in the past. By the way, this is mildly important, but the Violet Beauregard has been taken off of life support. Did you guys see that?
What the person who paid
From Willy Wonka?
Oh.
Oh well, as long as
Did they finally juice her?
as long as the Loompas are okay.
I was going to ask, who was your favorite character
I mean,
in Willy
you
Wonka?
think? I was like, I identify as them. Slave labor.
They're running shit.
Yeah.
They're running shit.
Yeah.
That place just shuts down without them.
Yeah, exactly. I got mad when they did the remake and they used one guy and they just CGI'd him like over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a great actor. His name's Deep Roy, and I see him at the meetings. And but I was mad because I was like, that was acting work.
For everybody.
Yeah, they did that.
Like the one movie we could have hired fucking everybody.
Everybody.
You used one guy?
One guy. I got mad at that. There was a movie called Snow White and the Huntsman where they CGI'd tall guys down to little people. Yeah, Bob Hoskins, God rest his soul, was one of the dwarves. He was one of the dwarves. He's
5'4".
Yeah, he's tall. What the fuck? And so now that's offensive when dwarves play dwarves.
Is it hard to protest though? Because people,
Really hard.
they're not intimidated. They just think it's really cute.
Yeah, well, because we're we're not using picket signs. We're using 3x5 cards.
But it looks like picket signs. You just look far away.
It's adorable.
People are like, oh my God, they're protesting.
Hell no, that's the show. Hell no.
By the way, I love that you're flipping that. That special unit, I wanted to do that for the reason too, because I wanted to, and just so you guys know, special units on Amazon Prime Video right now, it's doing very well.
Yeah.
Except for the Trump people who hate the opening credits, where I put Trump making fun of the disabled in it.
Oh.
Yeah, because and I used an old video. We used an old video for the credits. You should watch it for the credits. An old video of they're talking about who are the mentally retarded, and I actually that's running over the credits. And some of these, they can have jobs, they can have families, they can even be president. And we cut to Trump going, I don't know what he said, I don't know what he said. And some Trumpers, I shut it off in the first 3 minutes. Really, Snowflake? Did you? Did you not really deal with the joke well? So that's Brad was originally going to be in it as a bad guy, and Peter Farrelly lost you the job. Did I tell you the story?
Yes, you did.
Peter Farrelly lost him his job. Peter Farrelly said, because he was a bad criminal, and the disabled cops are taking down Brad, and then Peter Farrelly goes, how come they're taking down, can't they take down normal criminals? Or you're kind of going against your whole point. And I was like, Brad, sorry.
Yeah.
But you'll be the lead in the second one.
Yeah, but when Peter Farrelly tells you something.
I love that you were like, it's like Scorsese going, you can't do that.
Yeah,
all right. Hey, Scorsese said.
Yeah, all right. I'm out.
But you have now said on video that he's going to be the lead of the next one. So if he can sue
just
you,
don't talk to Peter Farrelly from now until you shoot.
No, I have the idea for the second one is really good, and you need to be who you are.
Done.
So you get to be full out. Done. Until the contract, and he's like, Brad's not getting this much. Brad, there's no way.
He doesn't work for this shit.
Yeah, the back end needs to be much bigger for Brad.
Is he calling himself Brad?
Yeah, he's a little man, but he's a huge talent.
Yes.
You need more money for
Is this
Brad.
him speaking?
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's his agent. No, I was doing his agent.
It's way better if he does it.
No, man, you got to do my manager, Barry Cat.
Yeah,
Wow, that's Barry.
Barry was my manager.
Oh, he was your manager too?
You know what I have to say about Barry?
What do you have to say about Barry
He is
Cat?
a genius.
He's undeniable,
undeniably.
man. Undeniable.
Like nobody can see Barry and say this guy is not by far one of the best, most light-giving humans on the planet.
He absolutely is. Now, who's on your Mount Rushmore of comedy?
Wow!
I've been asked that.
I know all the Barry tropes. Hey, if you're in a rowboat and all your bits they fall into the water and you can only save 5 of them, which 5 do you save?
This was the speech. This is what he gave. I thought that was made up for me.
Yeah.
Oh no, this happens to everyone.
No.
Everyone gets this speech. I can't write new material.
Barry and I stopped working together because we went to a meeting and I got the meeting. I go, Barry, Barry, you're my manager. I go, what do you think I should do here? And he goes, well, let me tell you something right here. I think you should do a video, put it on the YouTube, and hope it gets viral. And I was like, that's your advice? Well, because okay. that was, and I love Barry. He's great. He's great. But he is, by the way.
Yeah.
People that don't know Barry and that heard what you just did, go, who is this? I want to know this guy. Barry has a podcast too.
Industry standard, man. It's a wonderful podcast. This week I talked to Scott Halleck, who made the show Scare Tactics.
You guys have to go listen to the podcast because this will blow your mind.
That is so awesome.
No, listen, I need Barry to get way more famous because that's one of the impressions I can do. I can only do like 2, and that's one of them.
Just go listen so that you'll know how.
So you'll know how accurate that impression is.
Guys, on Amazon Prime right now, you can go see Special. You can also go see Armageddon, my new special. Again, Trump people. You know, I do some Hillary jokes, but I tell the truth, so you're going to be a little mad.
Also, if you want to see us tonight, this will come out on Friday tonight, Dallas, Texas Theater, Saturday the 13th, Houston, Zilka Hall at the Hobby Center, and Sunday, Austin Zach Theater. Go to his website.
All new show, guys. Stories I Shouldn't Tell. 90 minutes of brand new.
Where
you saw
gonna
Armageddon. You're not going to see it.
When does it come out?
Friday,
my friend.
Friday. Okay, so Friday, as this comes out, I'm in Columbus, Ohio.
One of our best clubs. We love that club.
So come see me there. I'll be at the Montreal Comedy Festival.
Let me be better at it than you are.
Okay.
By the way, if you want to go see Brad kick ass and destroy a room, go to the Columbus Funny Bone. It's awesome. And then you go to Montreal?
Yeah, doing the Montreal Comedy Festival, and then coming back, and I'll be doing the Bray Improv. That's my hometown. Get your tickets. I sell out. It's my hometown, so I tell people, get your tickets. Don't call me the day out. Be like, you're sold out. I told you.
Isn't it great when your family calls at 6 o'clock on Saturday?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, we need about 8.
Yeah,
we're done. No.
Haven't add some seats. They don't add seats. It's done.
That club is so big now, and I just headlined it for the first time.
Yeah.
And I did it middle of the week on spring break week, and I'm already not a draw. Awesome combination.
But you still killed it. By the way, I will say that's a cavernous room when it's not full. But here's what you need to know about comedy. A packed room, a bad comic can do well in a packed room. Mm-hmm. A not packed room, you got 100 people, 111 people there, and you kill those people, you're a good comic.
Yeah.
There you go.
And that's it. And every comic will tell you that when you start headlining, you get July 4th weekend. You get Halloween weekend. You get the weekend.
Graduation weekend.
Graduation weekend. In between Christmas and New Year's, there happens to be a Friday, Saturday. Yeah. You'll get that weekend. Yeah. And then, like you said, you kill for them. Then you're good. And
then sometimes something happens in the news and people just decide to not go out. You know, 9/11 happens. The space shuttle blows up. I've had that happen. We had space shuttle blow up week was like the whole world was like, oh my God. And like,
I was in first grade.
Okay. I was a grown man. Good. Thanks, man.
I'll give the props to you on that one.
I remember watching it blow up in class.
By the way, I waited till she was of age. She was 28.
Yeah.
I was not Jeffrey Epstein.
Here's my favorite one of those stories. I was doing the Virginia Beach Funny Bone, and this is like Saturday night, and it's really light, and every comic knows you can always count on Saturday. That's how you make your bonuses.
So you're confused now.
I'm very confused.
Right.
And I'm not like a schlub. Like I've been coming there. I've been selling tickets all over. I'm like, what the?
You got 3 specials, yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And they go, oh yeah, the Cake Boss is in town. He sold out 2 shows at the theater.
Oh no!
And I'm like,
the
fucking Cake Boss?
Are you kidding?
What's he doing on stage? People bought tickets.
Why is the Cake Boss not doing?
Why is he doing a tour? What's his tour?
So,
Ding! It's done.
Yeah,
like, that's it?
Exactly.
What?
Spatula, spoon. What is he doing? What are his bits?
Yeah, I'll mix it. You know, and hopefully, when I mix it, it makes it a little better. Cake Boss humor.
Cake Boss. Do you remember that? And what I'm gonna do?
Dropping bombs.
That guy?
To this day, if I ever meet the Cake Boss, I'm gonna have words.
Yeah, thanks for screwing up Virginia Beach, asshole.
Yeah, he owes me about $3,000.
BradWilliamsComedy.com. He's got a whole tour schedule coming up.
Yeah.
So
listen to Brad's podcast.
Vegas
very funny.
is coming up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
Indy.
Vegas, the brand new Jimmy Kimmel Comedy Club, which is beautiful.
Really?
Coming to Indianapolis for the new Helium Comedy Club there. Yeah.
Denver.
If I'm not in your city, wait. I'll be there.
Yeah,
like I tour like a goddamn madman.
Hell yeah. That's why it's a real comic, by the way.
Yeah.
Not one of those guys that hates touring or cancels the day before. I'm like, no, I want him. No. I got more shit to write.
Bring it.
Yeah.
And by the way, just because I know everyone was on a cliffhanger from last week, Joey Chestnut ate 71 hot dogs and won the contest.
Great ESPN 30 for 30, by the way.
After doing John.
Shocking how good that 30 for 30 was. I watched that 30 for 30 like, I'm going to laugh at this. It's going to be Kobayashi versus Joey Chestnut. And then by the end of it, I'm like, people didn't understand Kobayashi, man. He was going through a bunch of shit. He lost his mom. You know, his dad was disappointed in him for being fuck. Like, I was like, damn it, ESPN. You did it again.
He had to dig deep just to get 28 hot dogs.
You did it again, ESPN.
Guys, thanks for watching the Titus video podcast. For myself, Bombshell Ray, and the amazing Brad Williams. Later.
Peace out.